Hey, good afternoon. This is Kevin from Kevin's Trains. Today we're at the Bergen County Model Railroad Club, which is located at the second floor of the Hillsdale, New Jersey Transit Station. It's on the Pascack Valley line. We're going to be looking at today's CSX Legacy ES44AC, number 1982. It's a Seaboard Systems Legacy engine. Item number 2433861. Its OBS date was 2024, and we're going to run this on the layout today, and hopefully you like what you see. So I've taken the unit out of the master bar container, and this is what it looks like when you open up the box. I always, when I start doing these now, put an F at the front and an R at the back so I know the orientation when I have to put it away. Of course, inside the box, besides the engine, are the instructions that you probably want to read. These are very helpful in getting the engine up and running on the layout, including programming. Obviously, you can run this engine in Legacy, TMCC. You can use the Lion Chief remote. There are multiple ways you can run this engine. The preferred way is obviously with the Legacy 990 system, or if you have the new Base 3, that is actually awesome because you can now program it with 4 numbers. So I have a Base 3 at my layout at home, and I'll be programming this at 1982 at home. And here I'll just take one of the open numbers that are available from the club listing. In a minute, I'll get it out of the box and on the layout, and then we'll take a look at it in full living color. Okay, so I've taken the unit out of the box and we'll take a look at it. First, I want to tell you that I put the 20 drops of Lionel smoke fluid, the unscented, in the engine. I only use Lionel for Lionel. I use MTH for MTH. Simply because the manufacturer says you should do that, but it's okay. I do use other smoke fluids on occasion, particularly the scented stuff, and that I like. So let's take a look at this engine. This is part of the CSX Heritage units that are out there. The front, of course, has got the typical CSX front end nose with the yellow and the blue around the front. On the side, obviously, you can see it's a 1982. That's the number that Seaboard Systems was inaugurated into inaugurated. You have the radio control signal at the front. As you go down the body, you can see the transition from black, gray, blue, all the way to the Seaboard Systems logo and colors. Really nicely done. They pop, simple and elegant at the same time. And as we go along the back side, you'll see the same thing where you have the logo for Seaboard on the back end along with the road number. Now, when you want to program this unit, okay, this is the smoke place where I told you where I filled the 20 units. Underneath the back hatch, you'll have your controls, all right? You have your on-off program for the run, you have your Bluetooth, and you have your smoke. I typically turn the Bluetooth off. I don't use Bluetooth, even though Lionel makes it available through the multiple different ways you can run the operation. The reason I turn it off here is because at the Bergen County Model Railroad Club, we have quite a few people that like to use the application on their phone or on their tablet, and that requires Bluetooth. And I've always been a little bit wary that somebody can accidentally pick up my engine and send it off into Neverland. So I don't normally keep that on, so I'll turn that off. I'll keep the smoke on, and I'm going to program this unit to probably something like 85, 86 high end up on the spectrum, so it doesn't interfere with anything else that other people have. So give me a second or two, and I will go ahead and program the engine, and we'll get it on the layout. We'll go through some of the feature functionality that's out there. And of course, as you know, Lionel has 5 bells, 5 horns. They got the crew talk system, and we'll kind of like go through that, and maybe we can have a little bit of a poll and tell me who likes what bell and who likes what horn best. I typically like to mess around with them and ultimately settle on something that's local. I'm here in New Jersey, and CSX runs the River Line. And for those of you who don't know what the River Line is, it's pretty much the west shore of the Hudson River, and it goes from around the Newark Airport, Philadelphia area, all the way up to Selkirk, New York, which is where their yard is. And from Selkirk, they go to Buffalo, and then they head, Syracuse, Buffalo, then they head towards Chicago, and they make their route down on the back side. So I use CSX a lot because they're in my neighborhood, and I can go to the tracks and see them bring all sorts of cool stuff up and down the layout, up and down their property. Yesterday, CSX brought a ballast train down on standard EMDs, which was nice. And later in the day, they sent some SD40s up with a full load of auto racks. So I like the CSX simply because they're close. That doesn't mean I don't have other engines. I do have Norfolk Southern, I have Union Pacific, I've got Burlington Northern Santa Fe, I got Canadian National, and I have the old version of Kansas City Southern. And as you guys have seen in the previous video I've done, I've got the new version of that, CPKS. So it's I'm kind of all over the map with my Tier 1 companies, but CSX is probably near and dear to my heart because they're close by. But at any rate, let me get this thing up and running, and we'll go through that. So I spent a minute or two, and I loaded the new Seaboard Systems engine into the 990 remote. I called it number 85. I set it up for legacy. A minute ago, I mentioned that I try to use a variety of different smokes. MTH for MTH, Lionel for Lionel, but I also use JT Mega Solutions, okay? This is pretty good smoke, and I like the different varieties that JT offers. In this particular case, we had Bayberry laying around here, Bayberry Holiday. I did not put it in the engine, but I wanted to share with you that we do use other smoke fluids rather than just Lionel, or for that matter, just MTH. But our members like different stuff, so we keep a variety of them different around. So let's go ahead and start up the engine now that we've got that out of the way. And I'm going to just go ahead and give it a real start up here and see how it goes. And we'll see what happens. All right, so we, of course, you can hear it starting up. Sounds as it comes on the line. You have the headlight going on board here. I did not turn on the ditch lights yet, but I will when we get going. That's a simple process through the remote. But let's do something like first, let's try the crew talks and see what that sounds like.
Dispatcher, trains buckled together. Can I get to the main line? Over. Hold for track orders. Dispatcher out. Dispatcher, my train's made up. Am I clear? Over. Cleared onto the main. Out. Dispatcher, my engine's ready. Can I pull? Over. Please stand by. Out. Dispatcher, my engine's ready. Can I pull? Over. Take the green. Out. Dispatcher, am I clear to move? Over. Hold for signal indication. Dispatcher out. Dispatcher, my train's made up. Am I clear? Over. Cleared onto the main. Out.
All right, so that is some of the cab crew talk that we're familiar with Lionel. Sounds like they've changed the voice. Would be nice to have a female or two in there, but that's okay. That is what they've offered. So let's take a look at the horn now and see what goes on with the horn. Again, there's 5 of them, and I'm going to go ahead and go ahead and blast the horn. That would be horn number 1, and we'll go to the next one now. That will be horn number 2. This would be 3. number 4. To be honest with you, that sounds more like the real CSX on the River Line. Could be wrong, but that's close. Let me do that again. Sounds like they're ready for a signal crossing. Let's go ahead and go number 5. All right, that's number 5. If you have a favorite, put it in the comments. It would be appreciative. I'm kind of curious what people think. And then we'll go back to number 1, factory default, when it arrives. All right, so let's go ahead and do the bell now. That was bell number 1. Let's try bell number 2. Sounds pretty much like bell number 1 to me, but there we go, bell 2. Bell 3. Bell 4. Bell 5. And let's go back to the original bell. All right, so now we'll do a few more things and get the smoke unit prepped and get it running on the layout. So there's a couple other neat features that I kind of wanted to go real fast through. Of course, we have the couplers that go forward and open when they're going. So there's the front coupler. As you can see, it fired open. We got the rear coupler, fires open. I'm gonna manually close them with my finger. All right, I'm gonna close it with my finger. There's a couple other really nice sounds that you can get out of this thing. So we'll go ahead and do that too. So there's the female voice I was telling you that I was hoping Lionel would do. Okay.
Got a lot of tonnage today. Better bunch in some slack before we start out.
So there's more engineer crew talk by pressing the button on the far right, far left.
Air test is good. Ready to pull. Air test is good. Ready to pull.
Got a lot of tonnage today. Better bunch in some slack before we start out.
All right, so what I'm going to do now is actually get it running a little bit and show you that when you press the button, the ditch lights are now functional and operational. I happen to like this a lot. This is the way CSX actually operates with their ditch lights. When you hit the horn, they do stay on like this, but typically when the horn is blown, when they're coming to, say, a crossing or something of that effect, they blow them and the ditch lights do operate. All right, I will actually put a small video up there of that. So let's get this thing on the road and take some video of it pulling some trains. So I turned on the smoke unit because I usually like to let this fluid kind of get the wick wet before I run it for the first time. And as you can see, this thing is really smoking very nicely just in the standalone neutral position. When it gets up and running, it actually does smoke like a banshee. So I'm going to put some cars behind it. The Norfolk Southern Trinity hopper that I just got. I'll add a hopper that came from the New Jersey High Railers and a few other items, and we'll make a short consist and get this thing going. So while we're here at the Bergen County Model Railroad Club testing the new CSX Lionel Legacy engine, I decided to bring the brand new Atlas O Trinity 5161 covered hopper. It's item number 3001998. It's the Norfolk Southern honoring our veterans with road number 1111 1125. This is a Golden Spike Club membership kind of exclusive, and I'll unbox it, but I wanted to kind of give you what it looked like in the box. We'll have it on the rails in a few minutes along with the engine, and we'll go through some of the graphics at the time. So I've unboxed the Atlas Trinity Hopper, and I just wanted to kind of give you a real close-up of the graphics on this magnificent hopper. Of course, you know, Atlas is known for their quality and for hitting the mark on everything they do. Some of the things I'd like to share with you, obviously, the Norfolk Southern with the horse head on it. It's got the blue color roller bearings. It's honoring our veterans. If you take a look at the graphics and the paint on this thing, it's phenomenal. We have, of course, the star, Norfolk Southern honoring our veterans at the end, and the flag, which is standard amongst these types of special runs that Atlas does. The black is just awesome. The top is a combination of silver on the walkways and white hatches, or cream-colored hatches. I guess they're cream-colored. They almost look the same as the crosswalks. I love the idea of the red handrail on the top. The ends are pretty much the same. You got their, of course, you got the road number at the end. You see the steps at the bottom and the treaded mills, and they have wonderfully applied special details like the stairs, the ladders that go around the sides. Love the reflecting tape on the bottom of it. Really makes it stand out and pop. Overall, you know, this could have been purchased by anybody who's a member of the Golden Spike Club. I think it retailed at $119.99. And if you're a member of the Golden Spike Club, of course, you get a discount. And they also have, you know, the buyback program where you earn credits or bucks from Atlas. Overall, this is a pretty good looking car. I'm happy I decided to buy it. There's a couple more that I'm waiting for. The Tex-Mexican one that I'm gonna weather and add some details to it. So once I get that, I'll bring it in. I gotta get that squared up and ready to go. But overall, I think this really is a nice addition to anybody who likes modern freight. So we'll put it behind the Seaboard System's legacy engine in a few minutes, and we'll go from there. So another really cool feature that you're probably not going to hear because of the air conditioning going on here is when the engine comes to a stop and sits in an idle for about 10-15 seconds, what you'll end up hearing is the actual engine shut down. It'll go through the cycle of shutdown, and eventually the engine will turn off. And I'll try to make that happen, but it's a timing issue that I haven't quite nailed down yet, but it will go ahead and do that. Much like when you start the engine up, it'll do that as well. So let's see what we're about getting this thing going and getting it in a scenario where we have some sounds and startup. There we go. And as I said, we're getting a lot more smoke now on this engine than we did before. And it's the wick is soaked wet nicely, and we're getting a lot of nice smoke out of it. Ditch lights are fantastic, as I said. We have some crew talk and stuff like that going on.
I'm sorry, I did not hear you have code. Please try again.
So in the crew talks, not only do you get, you know, the standard cab chatter, but if you hit the buttons on the left-hand side, which would be in the lower portion, you'll get additional sounds, and that's where I was getting the phone sound, the female voice for the engineer, and things of that nature. So try that again.
Got an apron still on the head. Gonna have to back her down.
Well, there you go. So you can see from the way this engine is running here, it's really, really nice. Lionel did a nice job on it. They didn't do themselves any injustice with this engine. They've done quite an admirable job on the graphics and making sure it looks like the prototype that's out on the All right, so we're going to stop the engine. You'll hear some typical shutdown noises, hopefully. And here we go. Like I said, it takes a little bit of time to go through the sequencing, but eventually it does shut down. So we're hopefully going to get some shutdown information here, where the engine will slowly turn itself off. As you can see, the smoke unit has already turned itself off, and we'll just wait and see what happens for a couple of seconds here. Nope, not going to happen. I set it up.